Hello and welcome to another episode of Monday Night Review. This is Osama Rizvi from Primary Vision Network. So for this week, I wanted to talk about Pakistan and the events unfolding here, especially and specifically in terms of the economy. It is not being, well covered in the media, in the mainstream media, but I believe what is happening in Pakistan is symptomatic, manifests the overall problems that developing countries, low and middle income countries, the poor countries, the emerging markets are facing or will encounter at some point in 2023, given the adverse indicators the global economy has shown recently. And of course, I would also talk a little bit about what's happening in China and its reopening and what does it mean for the world, because that is probably the biggest event of 2023. So on your screens right now, you can see what I have termed as the collage of chaos. Why? Because these are all the major headlines coming out of Pakistan or regarding Pakistan in the past few days. And if you walk through this collage, you can see how bad things are. So first of all, you can see here that the shortage of cooking oil looms in Pakistan. Pakistan imports a major part of its cooking oil from Indonesia and Malaysia. It's palm oil and other oils. So in the past 1 year, the import bill of this cooking oil has gone up by 100%. Uh, there are calls for protest by the opposition party in the face of rising inflation. Pakistan has also decided, this stripe that you can see at the bottom left corner. BBC recently reported this. The Pakistan has started to close down its restaurants and shopping malls at 9 p.m. or 10 p.m. Why? To conserve electricity. That is happening across my city as well. So we have to really think that should we get out after 8 p.m. or not? The traffic is really bad. That is why retail sales have plunged, restaurant bookings have plunged, their profitability have plunged, multiple industries have closed down. The textile industry, you can see it here in the middle, is in shambles. So this was about another company that has reduced its production by 50%. So one of the major textile mills, spinning mills, they literally closed down their positions totally. Suzuki, car manufacturer, has closed down its position, its plants. Cement sales, which of course has a lot of affiliated industries, they have declined by 21%. Petrol supplies have declined 14%. One of the most major things, which is our reserves, foreign exchange reserves, they have been plunging recently, literally nosediving, if you may, for the past few months. And recently, they have plunged all the way down to 5 billion, 5.1 billion. However, there are now news coming out, and this would be confirmed this Thursday when the State Bank of Pakistan, our central bank, releases its official figures, that they have now plunged down below 5, the lowest level, and they're not even enough to cover imports of even a month. So globally, it is advised, the benchmark is that the foreign exchange reserve should cover about 3 months of imports. Then we have only 26 or 27 days of import cover. Food prices have hit the highest. Recent report came out, and for Pakistan, the food price inflation, you can see this here in the bottom right corner, this strip. The food price inflation was 35% year on year. And it was even more when we talk about wheat and rice, which is a major part of our diets. Transport costs have increased 41%. Uh, chicken prices. Chicken is something, in Pakistan, because we're not that rich of a country. The red meat consumption is not as high as chicken. So chicken, as the headline says as well, the luxury food item. It has become a luxury food item now because chicken was consumed by cause chicken is consumed by everyone, all in sundry, in equal amounts. But now the Poultry Association forecasts that chicken prices can go all the way up to 1,000 rupees in Pakistan. That is about doubling from a few months before. So this is something, this collage gives you a picture of how bad things are in developing countries and how bad it might get. We're looking for IMF. I'll update you in the coming weeks, but until unless that happens, we're looking for essentially a default. If not technically, then in reality. Coming back to China's reopening, so China is reopening from today. There are different points of views. I believe so. Economist article was very wise in that they took different approaches. So one of the worst cases, they see the deaths rising up to 1.2 million, and most of these would be, of course, old age people. But as you can see, the ICU beds, the demand for them remains high. Under that scenario, the R factor, that is at 3.3 in case of a worst scenario. However, this worst scenario also aligns well with other outlooks like Affinity, like Capital Advisors. They have all predicted death ratio in the middle of somewhere 1.5 to 2 million people in the coming months. And according to one estimate, about 37 million people in China are getting COVID every day. The online data shows that. But of course, we can't be sure about it, given China does not is not a fan of sharing its information. But this is something really serious. So, what will the reopening mean? I've talked about it before as well. According to some, it can add up about $15 to the oil prices. China, if we all know that it consumes about one fifth of the world oil, half of refined copper and zinc and soybeans and whatnot. So, clearly, China's reopening can even affect, of course, Thailand's tourism, because most of the Chinese people will now decide to visit Thailand. And so the point is, I'm trying to make is that it affects everything. However, in the recent months, China has China's economy has been suffering. Its industrial output is down 9%. It has lost about, according to one estimate, about $1 trillion in GDP in the past 18 months. So we will see when we put it in real terms, what will be the scenario for growth and the speed with which the growth occurs. One thing that is very important is that China's reopening can have a huge impact on LNG imports. And this is where our next slide comes in. So the news are coming in that because the winters are warm in Europe, and as you can see the graph, the chart, you can see the Celsius, they're quite down, as compared to the previous years. And also the next slide shows that their reserves, the buffer, is holding well. However, this is only when China has not reopened. But if China reopens, all of this can change. So we really need to look at this from this angle as well. It's not only Europe, it's not only the winters in Europe or the summers in Europe, it's also China's reopening that will matter. I believe the markets will be uncertain in the coming days. We can expect wild swings. The market sentiment tracker finally shows this quite clearly. Most of the things are balanced, but you see that the warning signs, the red flags are coming out regarding the global economy, and they would just keep piling up. So the outlook remains fairly bearish. So that's all from today. I hope to see you next week. Thank you.